What's going on, degenerates? It's Kyle and Cole from Sports Pulse breaking down the slate for NFL this week. We're starting off with a banger. Broncos going into Baltimore to play the Ravens. What do you got for this game, Kyle?
I got some questionable props by most people's standards, but I actually kind of like them. I think in this game, the Broncos are going to have to force Derrick Henry to not be able to run. They do have a good rush defense, top 10 in the league. Not that it matters to Derrick Henry, generally speaking. I think Derrick Henry's still going to have a great game like he always does. He's pushing for the first downs, he's going to get in the end zone. I think the Broncos can limit him a little bit. His rushing yards line is like 95 and a half yards. Okay? It's Derrick Henry. It is the Ravens. I understand that. I'm taking the under on Derrick Henry. I think that the Broncos, if they want to have any chance in hell at winning this game, they have to stop Derrick Henry and force Lamar to pass into that elite Broncos secondary. And you know what I'm also doing? First off, give me Lamar for a pick. If you're forced to throw against the Broncos, you're going to throw a pick. That's how it goes. Give me Lamar for 2 picks. I'm a firm believer that the Broncos can do a good enough job stopping Derrick Henry so that he can't be getting the first downs for the team and Lamar's going to have to pass. I think Lamar's still going to have a great game rushing himself because he's the second option rusher, but I do think Lamar is going to have to throw him. Give me Lamar for 2 interceptions. Also, the Ravens -9. Lock it in.
All right, that's quite the switch up there. Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win this game. Obviously, as the spread would indicate, the Broncos are shit. Their defense is legit. It's just that offense led by Bo Nix that can't really seem to get anything going. But one thing that we've been liking recently is something called a donkey bet. And one of those for this game would be the Lamar Jackson over the longest rush, which is probably around 15 and a half, 16, somewhere around there. That has hit every single game this season. And the reason it's called a donkey is because you just can't predict it. There's really no rhyme or reason for the bet. It's just whether it happens or it doesn't. But that's one that I've been taking quite often, and it's been hitting for me. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, also, I would like to point out that Bo Nix, he's been a top 10 rated quarterback by PFF grading, which is a little bit weird to think about because generally you think of Bo Nix and you think ass. He has like a stupid completion percentage. If you want a bet to look at Bo Nix completions. He's completing well over 70% of his passes pretty regularly with very few exceptions.
I will say that's super easy to do when you're just dinking and dunking down the field.
Hey,
But
is the bet going to cash?
well, yeah, that's what I'm
Probably.
saying. I'm not saying it's a good measure as of him as a good quarterback. It's a good bet for sure,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make him a good quarterback.
I was looking at the PFF ratings. I was wondering, trying to figure out why he's there. And his completion percentage is ridiculous. So just something you can kind of look at if you want to attack a Bo Nix prop. Personally, I'm probably not going to go anywhere near that. But the Ravens do have some holes in their secondary. Teams have to pass against the Ravens to keep themselves in the game. I'd say you can expect a big game out of Bo Nix in terms of completions, attempts, yards, the whole 9 yards here. We got the Dolphins taking on the Bills. Little division game here. Generally for division games, I think 6 is a little tall, but in this specific, actually no, I take that back. Give me the Dolphins +6 in this spot.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that.
I think with Tua back, so long as he doesn't decide to kill himself again, I think the Dolphins are still a quality team. Not that I think Tua is a quality quarterback, that guy sucks, but his arm works well for the offense. Get Tyreek the ball over the top. Buffalo Bills, their secondary's all right. There's nothing in the world you can do to stop Tyreek Hill when he has a quarterback that can lob the ball. Huntley, not able to lob it. Skylar Thompson, not able to lob it. Tyreek's yards took a dip. Look at that. Tua comes back. Tyreek's getting targets again. He got like 2 targets the week before for 1 reception and like 1 handoff. That's not how you use Tyreek, okay? I think Josh Allen, of course, is going to have a good game. Amari Cooper's back. I think that's part of why this spread is so tall. That receiver room is insane. Like usual, expect a good game out of Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid. Keontae Coleman looked great last week, had a beautiful touchdown catch. But I just don't think the Bills are going to do enough to win by a touchdown. I think the Dolphins are going to keep this game close, maybe even win outright.
yeah, I definitely agree. These division games are always, pretty close, pretty scrappy. I like the Dolphins as a cover here, and maybe they could even pull off that money line. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, and I think it should be a great game to just sit and watch.
We got the Raiders and the Bengals. Speaking of touchdown spreads, I think the Bengals -7 is something you have to play. I do
I
think the
agree.
Bengals have a trash secondary. I think if you want to look at Jacoby Myers, ever since Adams got shipped out, his target share has been insane. I know it's Gardner Minshew throwing him the ball, so you kind of have to gamble on whether the ball is going to get there or not. But I think Jacoby Myers should have a good game against this Bengals secondary that clearly has some holes in it. But then again, like I said, you're relying on Gardner Minshew, so you really can't, which is why I'm taking the Bengals -7.
Yeah, I think another player to watch for some nice props would be Brock Bowers. It seems like his production has been steadily increasing week after week. And obviously he's a rookie, so that's just him getting more accustomed to the offense, more accustomed to the life in the NFL, and then obviously getting that connection with his quarterback, which is now solidified for the rest of the year, barring injury, Gardner Minshew. So I think as they continue to build that kind of chemistry connection, I think his targets should go up as well. And you could probably look for him over yards, over receptions, over targets even, and you could sprinkle his touchdown line as well. But yeah, I definitely think the Bengals are going to win here. -7, I'd play that as well. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, just way too much stop for any
T.
offense. And
Higgins could be out again. For what it's worth, I think if you get a guy like T. Higgins back in the mix, I kind of like the over here. I think it's too. Not that the Raiders' offense is great, but I think they have enough to take down this Bengals defense that has been letting everyone down. And I think this game could be high scoring. I do think the Bengals win by a touchdown, at least maybe 2 touchdowns. But I think the Raiders are capable of putting up at least 2 scores. Bengals put up 3-4. I can see a lot of pass for that over to Kit. Commanders taking on the Giants. I think -3.5 is disrespectful. I think the Commanders cover this every day of the week. But then again,
yeah,
every time I say that, it feels like it's a trap game, and the Giants just show up looking like prime Eli Manning years. So I'm not
yeah.
going to put more money than I have to on this bet.
Who are you kidding? You're a Jane Daniels fanboy through and through. You're going to be nuking the shit out of that spread. And honestly, I might join you on that. That's a pretty low S spread in my opinion. It is a division game. But Jane Daniels, he didn't really look like himself last week. He was definitely still dealing with that rib injury a little bit, but he should be back to almost 100% this week. And I think the Giants defense just not going to be able to stop him. They do have a great D line, the Giants do, but it's not going to matter. Even if you pressure Jane Daniels, he can easily step up and move around and get outside the pocket and run for however many yards he wants to. So I like Jane Daniels to have another huge game going towards that rookie of the year, solidifying that. And I like the Commanders to win by probably a touchdown plus. So give me that.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Commanders do win by a touchdown. Last game against the Bears, not a great look losing to the Bears. I consider that a loss to the Bears. That Hail Mary should not have been caught. Tyreek Stevenson threw that game by trying to taunt the crowd. And then he
That
came
dude's
back.
hilarious.
All right, we got the Chargers taking on the Browns. And this one might be a little controversial. I think the Browns are going to win outright.
Jameis Winston is 20 times the quarterback that Deshaun Diddy Watson is, and I think him tearing his Achilles is the best thing, not only for the Browns, not only for the city of Cleveland, but the best thing for the NFL. I think he should be probably just taken out back and executed by firing squad, in my opinion. But anyways, Jameis Winston, he's gonna be able to move the ball. He's gonna have a pick or two. That's just how it goes with Jameis Winston. But he's going to be able to move that ball up and down the field. He's going to be able to put points on the board, and he's going to be able to put the Browns in the position to win this game. I think I would definitely lean Cleveland money line. It is at home. You got the dog pound. They're barking. They're all hyped up. They don't have to cheer for Deshaun Watson anymore. They're going to be out in full force. Expect James Winston to have a nice big game, and maybe look for Jerry Judy for some receptions and yards. And obviously, Njoku's out there. He's going to have a big game as well. I like the Browns here.
Yeah, and then I don't want to go. I'm not going to tell you guys to put down Jameis Winston 300 plus, 3 touchdown passes on your parlays. That's not going to really happen. Andy Dalton tricked me once. I will not be tricked again. A lot of these backups come in, they show out in their first game, and then they fall into a more regular routine. Although I do think he's going to have a good game here, I can see him going over his passing line. For him to get 1.5 touchdown passes, it's plus 150 right now. I think that's worth a stab. But I'm not going to call him the next Messiah until I see it firsthand. I am a big Justin Herbert, not a hater. I just don't really believe in him that much. I think that he doesn't have the weapons that he needs. Lad McConkey's okay, but realistically, what is that going to do for him? I think J.K. Dobbins has been struggling ever since his little 4 week performance of the year run. I don't know what happened to him. He was like breaking tackles like it was nothing, getting 10 yards a carry, just absolutely insane stuff for the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season. Now he's been struggling. They still have his yard line at 67.5. I'm kind of leaning on the under there. I don't think against the Browns they're going to be in a position where they're up a lot enough to run. And I think he's going to go under. I think the Browns are going to win this game outright. I think Justin Herbert's going to have to pass to keep himself in this game. And I can see this one being a little bit lower scoring. With the Cowboys taking on the Falcons. Now, last year, if you would have told me that the Atlanta Falcons would be 2.5 point favorites over the Dallas Cowboys, I might have slapped the shit out of you. But this year, this year I'm taking the Falcons minus 2.5 over the Dallas Cowboys, and it's not even
Yeah,
because CeeDee Lamb's injured. Like,
Cowboys are fucking trash, just through and through. Their defense is not good. Expect pretty much anyone to have a huge game on the Falcons side against this shit trash defense. Obviously, Micah Parsons he's still injured. He's not going to be able to have any effect on the game. Kirk Cousins, he's going to have forever back there in the pocket, I would think, and he's going to be slanging that thing. Give me Mooney over. Give me Kyle Pitts over. Give me Drake London for a touchdown. Give me the Falcons by 2 scores.
hey, Micah Parsons, man, coming to Green Bay will take care of you. All right, that's all I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, I think the Falcons are going to win this game by a margin, in my opinion. I think at least a touchdown. 52.5 over under is a little crazy because the Falcons do have high scoring games. When I see a Falcons game, I love to target overs for everybody. I think Dak's going to have to pass. Like I said for the last game, he's going to have to pass to keep himself in this game. I think you can look for probably another one of those bets we were talking about earlier, that donkey bet. Look at that CeeDee Lamb longest reception, 25.5 every single week, every single game this year. It might have taken some garbage time in the last 4 minutes of the game for CeeDee Lamb to hit it last time, but he got it. Dak is a serial fourth quarter stat patter. This guy is not that good of a quarterback. He will always end up with 300 yards because if he's losing the game, guess what? Fourth quarter, he's airing it out, and CeeDee Lamb is a good enough receiver to make those catches. They won't be able to convert. Dak's going to go 3 and out on the last drive when it actually matters. But if you want a guy to get you 100 yards in garbage time, Dak's your man. So I think for that reason, we're taking overs on both sides, and we're going to go with the Falcons minus 2.5. Next game up here, we got the Patriots taking on the Titans. And this game sucks.
Oh, this is a doozy.
Holy shit. I didn't even see this game on the slate. Take this one away, man.
For real. Just give them both a loss. It's probably for the best. Titans are favored 3.5. Give me the Patriots here. I think.
All right, next game up here, we have the Saints taking on the Panthers. 7.5 seemed a little crazy at first. Then you remember Derek Carr's back. Deontay Johnson's out to the Ravens. And I think the spread makes a lot of sense. Not that it's been any different. Deontay Johnson hasn't been playing the last couple weeks for the Panthers. Battling injury, then I think last week was more or less hey, I'm requesting a trade, get me out of here type of deal. So I think the Saints are going to win this game, probably by 2 touchdowns. Andy Dalton just... Is it going to be Andy Dalton? No, he had a car incident with his thumb, so it's going to be Bryce Young. And I don't think Bryce Young is... I don't think he has the experience needed. I think Bryce Young is someone that needs to be... Now, pause before I say this. He needs to be groomed a little. I think he needs to learn how to play football in a better manner. I think he needs to be behind a quarterback that actually knows what he's doing. So give me the Saints minus 7.5. I'm done talking about this game. It's trash. Jaguars taking on the Eagles here. Eagles should not be 7.5 point favorites to anyone in the league, but the Jaguars are hot ass. Jaguars did look good against the Packers last week, albeit there were some weird instances with Love in the game, so that kept it a little bit closer probably. But I think the Eagles should win this game again. I'm not going to touch that 7.5. But I do think Jalen Hurts is going to ball out here. Look for overs for all of his receivers. I don't think this game is really going to be that close.
Yeah, Jaguars suck. Eagles also suck, but Eagles suck a little bit less. Look for Nick Sirianni to have an unsportsmanlike conduct for yelling at the refs. I don't even know if you can bet that anywhere, but I'm just throwing that out there for funsies. I think he's a shit coach, as you all already know. But the Eagles are going to win this game for sure.
Keeping it short and sweet on that one. And then we got the Bears and the Cardinals. This game is one we want to talk about a little bit because the Bears looked really good against the Commanders, and I think the Commanders are in a way, this is a little bit of a stretch here. I think the Commanders are a better version of the Cardinals, if that makes sense. I think Jaden Daniels plays a lot like Kyler, a lot more similar to Lamar, but I think he plays similar to Kyler as well, just in a better way. I think Marvin Harrison's going to have a great game. We saw last week, yeah, Jaden Daniels had 300 something passing yards, 50 of them came on the last play. And I think the Bears have a chance to win this game outright. The Bears did look damn good. Cardinals have been struggling. They got a great win last week, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it again.
Yeah, I'm a serial Bears hater. Obviously, I'm a Vikings fan. Kyle is a Packers fan, so we kind of both hate them. But I'm gonna dissent here a little bit. I think the Cardinals at home can take this game. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams, and I haven't been this whole year. He just has not done much to really inspire confidence, to be honest. I think Kyler, he can put up some numbers. He can be running the ball. He can be throwing the ball. Hopefully, they can get Marvin Harrison involved a little bit more for my fantasy team's sake. But yeah, I definitely think the Cardinals can win here. Bears, I don't know. There's just something about them, something about that team, whether it's the coaching, whether it's the offense, whether it's Tyreek Stevenson taunting the fans and losing the game. Just the culture is not good there. Give me the Cardinals -1.
I will say this right now, the Cardinals are ranked 29th in the league for rushing yards allowed to running backs. Caleb Williams clearly has not been able to pass the ball like the Bears were probably hoping, but their run game with DeAndre Swift has been solid. Hasn't been great. There was a little stretch there where he wasn't doing shit, but these last 4 or 5 weeks here, he's been popping off. Last week, 130 yards. He was carrying the offense on his back. I think DeAndre Swift's going to be able to do something similar against this trash-ass Cardinals defense. I mean, we saw against the Packers. When the Packers shut down the Cardinals offense, there was nothing there. The Packers kept scoring. The Cardinals couldn't do shit. I think if the Bears can halt that passing offense a little bit, DeAndre Swift is going to take over this game. Big one right here. This one's
Oh
important for the
boy.
division. Packers and Lions. Now, unfortunately, Jordan Love is uncertain. He had a groin injury last week, and that may be a good thing for the Packers, okay? Jordan Love, he's great when he's great, okay? He's great when he's great. He's horrible. And I mean horrible when he's bad. Now let me elaborate a little bit. He plays like a light-skinned Brett Favre. He's going to throw 2 picks in a game, but he's probably also going to throw 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Generally how it goes. Last week was the first game this year. He didn't have 2 passing touchdowns. So I think this week you can probably get, if he plays, you can get a good bounce back price on his 2 touchdown prop, assuming he doesn't get hurt again. And then something a little interesting. Whenever Malik Willis is playing for the Packers, Josh Jacobs runs harder. Josh Jacobs performs better when Malik Willis is playing quarterback. It feels like the offensive line blocks better. Josh Jacobs runs better. I don't know if that's a game planning thing, like they're not planning for him to be passing at all, if they're just focused on the run game, but I feel like they should be blocking like that regardless when Jordan Love is in there. So I think that Josh Jacobs is going to have a great game this week. On the flip side, the Packers have struggled against good running backs, and I think Montgomery and Gibbs are going to run a train on the Packers. As a Packers fan, I hate to say it, give me the Lions -3.5 here.
And overall, they just seem like the better team. And Jordan Love banged up. I don't know how well he's going to be able to play. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. Seems like he hasn't really been 100% all year. But I do like the Brett Favre comparison. That's kind of been the theme this year so far. He just likes throwing the ball to the defense. And you know what? If he can still win games, if he can still put up points and numbers, and that's not the worst thing in the world. Brett Favre, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So I still like the Lions here. I think Jared Goofball has been having a great year and still underrated in my opinion. Believe it or not, people they like to write him off. They like to think that he's still that guy that couldn't put up any points in the Super Bowl all those years ago against the Patriots. But yeah, give me the Lions here.
Hey, I'm just going to put it out there. There's a reason Brett Favre won the MVP back-to-back years, all right? You can throw picks as long as you're making up for it. Jordan Love still got hope. I haven't given up on my boy yet. Next year we might, but we haven't given up on him yet, okay? So, next game here, we got the Rams and the Seahawks. I think this one is a game that should be high scoring, but it feels like one of those games where it's just going to disappoint everyone. I think the Rams are going to squeak out a win here in a very close game, as the spread suggests. And I think the Seahawks have just been struggling a little bit. The first few weeks, we were talking about the Seahawks like they were going to be a deep playoff team. They're going to make a great run. These last few weeks, I mean, they've been getting their wins when they need to, but they just haven't been performing to the standard that I was holding them to. And I mean, when you get a Geno Smith led offense, that does tend to make sense. There was going to be a fall off at some point. They weren't going to have this Cinderella run. I think with Puka and Cooper back, the Rams look great against the Vikings, and I think this game is going to be the Rams.
Yeah, I agree on that. The Rams are a much more complete team now, obviously, like you said, with Kaufman and Puka Nacua back. They just look completely different against the Vikings. They were able to move the ball at will. And honestly, I don't know if that's more of the Vikings defense regressing, which it sure looks like it is. We'll get to that in a second. But the Rams just that offense is going to be damn near unstoppable with Kyron Williams in the backfield and then any number of receivers to throw the ball to. So I like the Rams here. I don't think the Seahawks really have the defense to keep up with them at this point. Um, yeah, I think Rams -2, Rams money on.
Next game here, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings at home. The Vikings are at home, that is. 5-point spread. And now I'm just going to put a graph up on the screen for you guys, and I just need you guys to take a look at this. You know, since the start, I've been an Anthony Richardson hater. It stemmed from when I believed in him week one, and then he shit the bed, and then I haven't believed in him since. Now, you see there's one thing on this graph that is not like the rest. Damn near the lowest EPA per play in the league. Completion percentage, bar none, lowest in the league. You thought Bo Nix was missing some passes some of those weeks. I looked at Bo Nix's stats one week. He was like 4 for 17. And he's nowhere near Anthony Richardson. This guy sucks. He sucks. And you know what? The Colts realized it too. Thankfully, the Colts had a fucking realization. Joe Flacco's coming to play. Flacco's coming to the Vikings, all right? And you know what Flacco's going to do? He's going to do just about the same thing Anthony Richardson does, but a little bit better. He's going to throw an interception. He might throw 2 touchdowns. He's probably going to throw 300 yards. But you can't ignore those interceptions. I think those turnovers are going to matter because the Vikings offense has been looking very good. I think Joe Flacco is going to have a monster game. If they're going to give me plus money on Joe Flacco passing touchdowns again, last time they did that, I nuked it against the Jaguars. Look at that, it paid off. I'm going to nuke it again against the Vikings. Defense has not been bad, but because generally they have been winning games this season, a lot of teams are having to pass to keep up with them. So their passing yards allowed numbers are really inflated, similar to the Ravens. Which, hey, that opens up some opportunities for Flacco to get some yards, get some fantasy points. I think pretty much any over you're taking on Flacco besides completion percentage is a good bet. But I do think the Vikings are going to win this game by a touchdown.
Man, I sure do hope so. Historically, the Vikings going against the backup quarterbacks, kind of the vet guys, or even rookies, it doesn't matter who the fuck. They just shit the bed. I don't know what it is. I distinctly remember a few years ago, it was Cooper Rush for the Cowboys. He came in for Dak. He must have been injured or something. Just absolutely lit up the Vikings defense in every way. They ended up losing that game by a pretty decent amount. Something about these fucking backup quarterbacks, man. It's ridiculous against the Vikings. I don't understand it. The Vikings defense, it's been not nearly as good as it was the first 5 weeks. It seems like they've regressed quite a bit. I don't know if teams are kind of figuring it out a little bit more. Players not playing as hard. I don't know what it is, but it needs to be fixed. And this is going to be a pretty big test going against Joe Flacco and the Colts if they can respond and if they can actually get their shit together and put up a solid game. But I'm going to take the homer pick, even the Vikings -5. I think that they can cover that spread as long as all 3 phases come to play. And I think this could be a really good get right bounce back game for the Vikings here after losing to the Rams last week. And obviously losing to the Lions had a heartbreaker before that. So Hawkinson is going to be back, which is absolutely massive for the Vikings offense. They kind of needed that third option in the passing game. They were just forcing the ball to Jefferson and Addison a lot of times before. Hawkinson will open up, not even just a check downs as a tight end. He's going to be able to get some yards down the field, kind of run up the seam, get some nice catches for for big gains, I think. And I think that's going to open up their offense quite a bit more. So give me the Vikings -5.
All right, now we have the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield and his banged up offense coming into Kansas City, taking on the likely Super Bowl winners. That's not even some Mahomes glaze. I don't like the guy at all, but he's very good at what he does. With the exception of this year, he's been playing a little bit. He's been playing below standard, below expectations, but they've still been winning, so I guess it doesn't really matter. When you have an undefeated team, the quarterback, regardless of how shit he's been, he's probably going to be the top of the MVP candidates. I mean, it really doesn't matter. He's just going to. Patrick Mahomes is going to do what Patrick Mahomes does, and that's going to be win football games.
And throw an interception.
Yes, bet Mahomes throw an interception, lock it up, all right? Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield, he's been playing good in terms of fantasy points. He's been playing good in terms of touchdown passes. He hasn't been playing too well in terms of winning games. Obviously, they threw Godwin to the Wolves. They put him out there on a play where they had no chance of winning the game against the Ravens. So, season-ending injury.
Yep, root my fantasy team, by the way.
Yep. Then Mike Evans, obviously, he just jumped in the end zone, came down on the hamstring. When all else fails, they've been running it with Bucky Irving. Chiefs have a pretty decent run defense. You're not going to run against the Chiefs very well. They have a great defensive line, good pass rush. I mean, the Baker's just in trouble here. I think Baker's going to get smoked a few times. So, yeah, probably give me the Chiefs by 2 touchdowns. I don't think this game's going to be close.
Yeah, I agree. Buccaneers just don't really have much on that offense. Look at Cade Otton, though. He's been huge for the Buccaneers. Look at him for a touchdown. Look at him for receptions, yards, the whole everything. He's pretty much the number one target in Tampa right now. So that's really all I have to say about Tampa. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't know, 8.5. That seems like a lot, but it's a Monday night game. The refs are going to be real involved, even more so that Mahomes is playing. I don't know. It's pretty fucking ridiculous at this point. Chiefs basically just have 15 players on the field at all times, with the rest included. But yeah, give me the Chiefs money line. I'm not touching that fucking spread.
All right, then if you guys enjoyed these picks, you got some props, you're already to lock in for the winners. Make sure you join the Discord. We have one of the best communities in the game now that NBA's back. The community's been popping a lot more. Everyone's sending their wins. We're getting some gains, talking about some props in the main chat. If you want to get all the winning plays, join the VIP. It's only $1 a day. You really can't beat that price. But that's all I got for you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.
See you.